Odisha and West Bengal, there are 63 seats. And currently we just have 2 MPs from there. So naturally BJP, looking at the mood of the nation, where there is such widespread acceptability and admiration for the current Prime Minister and BJP, naturally we are looking at newer pastures, and Odisha and West Bengal are certainly on the priority list. We are emboldened by the results which have come up in the Panchayat elections in Odisha and the just concluded by-election in West Bengal, where the vote share rose to 34%. So both these states are ripe. They are willing to go for a change. Odisha has seen a fatigue factor, 20 years. You see, by the time 2019 comes, it will be 20 years of Mr. Patnaik's rule. There is complete fatigue, and people are in fact disillusioned, because when they look back, they say, in comparison to the other states, where are we? Where we started from. So it is for this yearning of change that they are looking towards BJP, and I'm sure we will do extremely well in Odisha as well as West Bengal. There is certainly a focus on Odisha. Dharmendra Pradhan, the energetic petroleum minister, who has done wonders in this Ujjwala scheme, where every every household has been given a chula, which was his initiative. It has gone down well, and he is seen to be a very promising leader in the eyes of the people of Odisha.
Kalikesh, if I can come to you, there was a time that Naveen Patnaik's father and the founder of the BJD, Biju Patnaik, described the BJP in Odisha as a signboard party. Now in the last 2 days we have seen only signatures, only signs, only cutouts of the Prime Minister all across Bhubaneswar. They have moved from the signboard party to possibly being your main challenger in 2019.
Well, there is some truth in that, to the extent that the BJP has replaced the Congress, which was the traditional opposition to the BJD. In fact, it is this replacement where the Congress has got decimated that a large part of Congress votes have shifted to BJP, and they won some seats in the recently concluded Panchayat polls. But let me point out to Mr. Mittal and the audience that BJD still continues to remain the largest party in Odisha, even in the Panchayat polls, by far. For 490 seats won by BJD, the BJP won only 280 seats. And this is not counting the blocks, but almost 90% of the blocks have gone to the BJD candidates or BJD supported candidates. Now it's a democracy. Every party has a right to try and campaign and win votes, and of course we've had 20 years of rule of Naveen Patnaik's government, and there will be some anti-incumbency. I'm not denying that. It's also a honeymoon period for BJP, which has swept to power in 2014 after a very weak and corrupt 10 years of misrule by the Congress. So we're not denying all of that, but by far the BJD remains the tallest party in Odisha, and Naveen Patnaik remains the tallest leader in Odisha. And I am confident in 2019 that the BJD, under the leadership of Naveen Patnaik, will come back into power in 2019.
Rajdeep, and I can just take you back to Odisha for a moment, where, of course, as you said, that it is one of the main focus state as far as the BJP is concerned. When the Prime Minister, when he came, there was a lot of criticism about whether he would be able to take coalition partners along. BJD has been traditionally seen, at least for in the national context, although in 2009 they did not come along as far as the NDA is concerned, as somebody who possibly BJP can align with. Is this the end of the era where the Prime Minister wants to go into a coalition sort of a politics? Is it now, BJP under the Prime Minister all across, single-handedly going across to every state?
See, today the priority of BJP is to expand itself where people are wanting a change, and we are the natural alternative. See, the Prime Minister did 3 things which have really touched the chord of people. One was the Ujjwala scheme, the other was Jan Dhan Yojana, and third is demonetization. The 3 things together have convinced the people that there is a pro-poor approach to the entire polity. It's a polity of mission, it's a polity of passion, it's not profession. That is the reason why there is so much of energy, there's so much of commitment There's so much of, addressing the people and taking them along. And BJP in Orissa, let me tell you, BJD, its origin has a lot to do with BJP, because I personally was very involved in the creation of BJD. Now, we know BJD in its strength and we know BJD in its weaknesses. It is still, unfortunately, a party with a single leader and nothing beyond. And it is this fatigue of the last 20 years that people are now looking for a change.
Okay.
And in the Prime Minister, they see a hope factor. In local leadership of BJP,
Kalikesh,
they certainly see an alternative factor.
Kalikesh,
So two things together.
With Naveen Patnaik, with Naveen Patnaik, more and more people are seeing that he's not seen in public. There are murmurs of some sort of dissent or differences within the BJD. Have you given this sort of an opportunity to the BJP to strike you at your weakest? And what is the plan going forward now when you see this sort of an energy from the Prime Minister, who's there in public against a leader who possibly for the last few years has not been seen so much in public with the people of Odisha, possibly the state he's ruling right now? When you hear these comments being made against the BJP, when Kalikesh says that that's the reason why they broke up with the BJP in 2009, there are people, those who possibly would say that this is a short experiment that BJP has utilized in Uttar Pradesh. First the communal tension, then comes the healing touch by the Prime Minister. He talks about the Muslim outreach, he talks about development, but this is how you try and gain and build up towards elections.
I think the entire narrative of secularism and communalism has been lock, stock and barrel rejected by the people of this country. Communalism is only talked in terms of the appeasement of minority votes, and it is this attempt to appease that people have now squarely rejected. So this entire theory of, surcharge, communal environment and then it benefiting BJP is a humbug theory, and the people of this country do not believe in it anymore.
Okay.
In the name of secularism, everybody has practiced pseudo-secularism.
Okay.
Communal, basically vote bank politics, communal politics. Our motto is very simple. We say justice for all, appeasement to none.
Okay.
And I would like to challenge anybody. Give me one act of the central government which you can say had a communal overtone. There was a discrimination against anybody.
All right.
Be it in favor of the majority or be it in favor of the minority. I mean,
let me get Rajdeep Sardesai at this point. Let me just get Rajdeep Sardesai at this point. Rajdeep, so as I was asking, many have been saying that it's a tried and tested formula. Make a point, quickly go ahead, and then I'll go to Kalikesh.
Rajdeep, you were saying that BJP has benefited out of communally surcharged environments. I don't think history has it this way. See, after the 92 demolition of Babri Masjid, 93 Vidhan Sabha elections of UP, of Madhya Pradesh, of Himachal, we lost. 2002 Gujarat riots you mentioned. Do you realize 2004 Lok Sabha we lost? Where else everybody believed that we were going to win. No, it does not benefit us politically. What is critical is our agenda is what people have started believing. The agenda is that of development. The agenda is non-partisan politics. The agenda of justice for all, appeasement to none. So it's this credibility of the leadership as well as the party's ideology which has sunk into the people, who have seen a corruption-free, a committed government which is pro-poor. And this consistency has what has led to the growth of BJP and not a communally surcharged environment. And as far as the riots in Orissa are concerned, please understand, it is their government. If anybody from BJP or its allies organizations were involved, they would have arrested them by now and discredited us. But if this is what happened, we have nothing to do with it and we do not benefit out of it. So let's dispel this notion once and for all.
Rajdeep, you wanted to respond quickly.
No, my point is that these were parallel narratives. You are playing again the pictures of Gujarat. Look at the history of Gujarat. The BJP's rise in Gujarat began in the late 80s. Anti-reservation riots turned into communal riots. You had the Ram Janmabhoomi movement which began in Somnath. You had a section of the Janata Dal which merged with the Congress. The Congress got discredited, and that's important even in the Odisha context. both in Odisha and to a large extent in Gujarat, the BJP took a large chunk also away of the Congress vote. That's where today the BJP believes it has a chance in Odisha, because the Congress, which was the dominant party of Odisha, is collapsing. In Gujarat, in the late 80s and early 90s, the Congress began to shrink and the BJP began to grow. There are parallel narratives. I'm not saying it's only on communal politics, but communal politics, particularly in Gujarat, played a very major role. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad played a very major role in the rise of the BJP in Gujarat. The BJP till the late 80s was still a minor player. The Janata Dal and parties of Chimanbhai Patel's led Janata Dal was still the dominant player. The BJP had to support Chimanbhai in the late 80s. Let's not forget his history.
Let me just drag you back, and we also have Kalikesh here. Otherwise, it will just become a debate on these very topics. But Sudhanshu Mittal, you cannot deny the fact that it is also been seen repeatedly, this sort of a model where communal tension are then proceeded by the development pitch by the Prime Minister. Let me just quickly get Kalikesh in, and specifically on Odisha. Kalikesh, in the last almost 17 years of the rule of Naveen Patnaik, there are many parameters that possibly the government can go out and display as their achievements, but there are many parameters that the government has lacked as well. Be it industrialization, the kind of industrialization that was promised in 2004-2005 onwards has not been seen as fructifying on the ground, and also the kind of opposition that BJD is usually used to fighting with. The Congress, which is in disarray, the BJP is now taking on that opposition with Prime Minister, who comes with a massive pro-development image. His party as of now is on an upswing, and the BJP has a lot more presence. The Prime Minister's charisma will now be, compared with that of Naveen Patnaik. How do you plan to counter that?
No, I agree with you, and I agree with Rajdeep. There is no place for complacency in politics, whether it's your first term or it's your fourth term. And I think the party is seized of the fact. It was a bit of an awakening for us when the BJP won some seats in the recently concluded Panchayat elections. We are shaping up our organization to address the issues which we believe have led to certain areas being weakened, especially those on the fringes of the borders of Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. But let's be very clear. I think the BJD and Naveen Patnaik still continue to remain the tallest party and tallest leader in the state. I don't think it's an absolute victory for the BJP as they expect to have it happen in 2019. I don't think that's really the case as they are projecting it. Secondly, I don't want to talk about other states, but in a state like Odisha, where the minority is really small, any attempt to try and polarize on the base of religion or on the basis of majority versus minority is not going to yield the results, because the minority is so small, it's not really a threat to the majority. In fact, all religions live very harmoniously in a state like Odisha. So these kind of experiments will 100% fail if that is the basis of the election poll promise that the BJP enters into 2019. If it's a question of development and jobs and growth, yes, we will question how many jobs the BJP has given rise to the last 3 years or in the last 5 years. What kind of growth has it actually resulted in?
Yes.
And when the euphoria, the honeymoon period of the central government dies down, I think the facts and figures will be a lot more clear, and then we can actually compare what's happened in 5 years in the current NDA regime and what's happened in the last 20 years in Naveen Patnaik.
Sudhanshu Mittal, the opposition has been saying that this win at any cost approach of the BJP, you try and gain people from the opposition parties. You have been doing the same in Odisha. There are Congress leaders, your leaders there in Odisha do agree. Sources tell us that you are already in talks with Congress leaders to get them on your side. Is it the new BJP winning, or it's the old Congress with the support of the BJP, or the old opposition where you're trying to poach people from the BJP, the Congress, and win the election at any cost? That's the agenda.
See, since we are the natural alternatives in these states now, then people tend to gravitate towards natural alternative. There are a lot of people in Congress who are disgruntled with the Congress leadership, and both at the state level as well as the national level, and they feel that it is with the BJP that they can go and serve the people of Odisha. So that's one aspect of it. But what is more critical? More critical is, look, BJD in itself has had 20 years and there is really nothing to show. Yes, he may be tall, but the height itself is not sufficient for people to be just satisfied with leadership.
Okay.
They need delivery on the ground. Kalikesh was saying that it's not such a big victory and it's not a victory. Kalikesh, just remember, it is not where I stand. It is the direction of my graph. The direction of graph of BJP's ascension is very, very steep. And that is where it's going to overtake you in 2019. For the simple reason, people look at us with a lot of hope, with a lot of faith in what we have done till now.
Right, Sudhanshu. And before I go to Rajdeep for a response, let me also bring in Akar Patel. Rajdeep Sardesai continues to be with us. Let me just come to you, Sudhanshu Mittal. Is there ever a thinking, because of course the Prime Minister's energy is remarkable. We have seen rally after rally, roadshow after roadshow. But is there, as opposition would say, any worry in the BJP of overexposure of the Prime Minister? He's campaigning for MCD elections. His name is being used in the MCD elections for state elections, and then he's also responsible for the national elections as well.
Ankit, I think when the nation believes in him, certainly his word is what matters to the people of this country. We were discussing leadership, we were discussing Mahagathbandhans and all that. I just want to make one observation. See, for leadership, what is critical is that you must have a dream in your eye and fire in your belly. एक जुनून चाहिए होता है. एक बड़ा अच्छा शेर है, कुछ कम ही ताल्लुक है मोहब्बत का जुनून से, दीवाने तो होते हैं बनाए नहीं जाते. It is this kind of a junoon which is there in the Prime Minister to serve the people of this country, and that is what has instilled faith in people. This entire talk about Mahagathbandhan, which we were just mentioning before we went for the break, you are all drawing a parallel from Bihar. Bihar, it was possible because there was no leadership issue. Lalu Yadav was already convicted, so he could not become a chief minister. And Nitish Kumar was there, so there was no conflict on leadership issue. But when you look at the national scenario, now, is Rahul Gandhi the leadership around whom everybody will combine? Or is it Nitish Kumar? Or is it Mamata? Or is it Arvind Kejriwal? See, leadership issue for opposition unity is very critical. In past, when you've had this, you had very clear-cut leadership.
Okay.
VP Singh, yes. Around him, you had everybody gravitating to challenge the Congress. For everybody to gravitate, there is no leadership. Because Rahul Gandhi is not the leadership which instills faith and confidence, not only in the people, but also in the political system. So, leadership
Kalikesh, if I can draw you in, on this, on a larger perspective away from Odisha, of course, in Naveen Patnaik, there is a formidable chief minister there in Odisha, but if I can draw...
Two things. First, NDA is the largest alliance in this country. It is much larger than the UPA. Secondly, as far as the spirit of accommodation of regional parties is concerned, look at the track record of BJP. In UP, we had made an announcement. Even if we are winning it on our own accord, we'll have all the parties which are a part of the alliance in the government, and we did that. We've given them a more than fair share. Because we believe that in this nation, which is such a huge nation, if there are regional aspirations and if there are regional players, they must also have a say in governance, and that's what we have been accommodating all this while. So to be charged with not being sensitive to regional aspirations, I think is an unfair criticism. More important,
Kalikesh, and since we're just talking about 2019,
again, that old rhetoric of communalism, it doesn't work.
Go ahead, Kalikesh. You want to respond? Please go ahead.